Great Tide Studios has never let me down with a single piece of their sculpting, and that's why I am always so happy to dive on a collaboration with them and share these awesome sculpts with you. In today's video, I'm going to focus on one of their older bundles, which is actually quite a small bundle, so sometimes it can be overlooked, and that is to transform a standard Marine into a member of the Legion of the Damned, which is a very cool, a very mysterious chapter of Space Marines, and I cannot wait to get one painted up in today's video. Before I get into it though, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone that has supported me in all the myriad of ways it is possible to support me, whether it's by giving videos likes, which is super important, commenting on the videos below, which is super important, and making sure you're subscribed, which is super important. Those three things cost you nothing, but they make a huge difference in how many people see these videos and how quickly the channel grows. For all those awesome people out there who take the extra step and support me over on Patreon, a big thank you from the bottom of my heart for you. Obviously, being a member of Patreon comes with a lot of perks, i.e. you get access to a private Discord server, you can hang out with me on a daily basis, talk about your hobby, take part in all the different events we host over there, like painting competitions, community showcases, extra painting articles, podcast episodes, extra video every single week. Also, you get entered into the monthly giveaway. Last month we gave away a knight. This month we are giving away a Dark Eldar army. And next month we're planning to give away an airbrush and a compressor. So if you're interested in winning those kinds of prizes, all you need to do is be signed up to our Patreon at any tier and you are automatically entered into the giveaway. Okay, thank you guys so much. Let's dive in and get this Legion of the Damned Marine painted up.
Let's ride.
Okay, step one was finding a base miniature. So obviously I grabbed a box of intercessors I had in my pile of shame. 5 guys left in here, so I basically clipped out the parts for a sergeant, but I didn't need many of his parts realistically. I just cut out, legs, torso, backpack, and his arms, which I know that sounds like a lot, but obviously we haven't used his head or his shoulder pads. And then obviously we're going to add all the different flame effects and all the other cool bits and pieces. So anyway, got those plastic sections cut out, cleaned up to the best of my ability. I found a base because somehow I stole the bases from that box at an earlier point. So I went away and searched for a 32mm base. And this is what we're left with. These are the kind of parts that are prepped and ready to go. And then all I need to do now was introduce the resin bits from Great Tide Studio. So what I did was, because this kind of bundle was so small, I just opened up the files and dragged them all into the printer and printed every single part they had for the kind of Legion of the Damned style miniatures. And I got them cleaned up. Here's a selection of them. Here is a flaming shoulder pad with loads of skulls iconography. Here's a very kind of famous kind of ribcage and skull motif for the Legion of the Damned. Flaming heads, there's flaming swords. And then all of the individual tiny bits of fire you see can seem like, I don't know, a little bit daunting, a little bit hard to use. But they do great reference pictures to show you what these pieces are for. They're not random at all. So for instance, these horseshoe shaped ones, turns out they're for around their feet, which I only realized by kind of checking out their images that they have set up to show you, which is really cool. So as this guy's kind of stomping across the battlefield, he's leaving fiery footprints in his wake, which I think is really awesome. Obviously, I chose some very nice stylized shoulder pads, got those glued into place. And then obviously there's lots of those fire bits. So I went around and found ones that kind of worked specifically. So I started to glue one to his big shin pad there. And as you can see, it sits flush on the shoulder pad. And then I just went nuts and added loads, and I just thought it looked so cool. The more I added, the more I was happy. Fiery bolts coming out of his bolt pistol, and obviously he's fired off his heavy bolt rifle at some stage recently as well. So there's a bit of fire kind of cascading from the barrel of that. So all in all, I was very happy with the aesthetic and the design of him, and now it was time to get a very quick coat of paint on him to see what he would look like. So the model was sprayed black and then sprayed grey sear, and then we moved on to our traditional way of painting black, which is Black Templar contrast. Is a great way of getting a really nice, simple, shaded base coat across a miniature. From there, we moved over to Lead Belcher and did all of the silver parts of this model. Originally, I was thinking about doing some of the shoulder trim in golds, but it turns out that I guess the Legion of the Damned are not really about that gaudy lifestyle. So some of the artwork and impressions that I got was that they silver everything. So there was no gold used. I just silvered the kind of candlestick holder on his back, the trim on the shoulder pads and stuff. And then we grabbed Charred Bone, which is just, I have this like triad of colors that I have from Army Painter Air paints that I just really like using to brush paint and do bone effect. I don't know why I love them so much, but I do. So Charred Bone is how I started. And I just blocked in all of those kind of bone sections across the model. And there's quite a few of them actually. Now, Blood Angels Red was used to block in all of the flame techniques or flame sections of the model. Like I said, there's quite a few. I went a little bit crazy, but I think it really works. And I think if I was to do more of these guys, I would do the kill team for them. I would kind of design a kill team and do a Legion's Dam kill team. I think that would be so cool. And they would be covered in flame.
Hell yes.
Once all of those bits were blocked in, it was time to shade the miniature down. And for that, I went for a simple Nuln Oil all over. Every single part, head to toe, got covered with Nuln Oil, which will shade everything nicely. Will help to kind of set the tone for that black armor really nicely, and then give us a beautiful place to work up from for all those other sections. Before we go on, I just want to take this time to basically talk about my fire. My fire is backwards. I know my fire is backwards. I aesthetically prefer the look of it painted backwards. And by backwards, I mean the core of my fire is red, and then I go into orange, and then I go into yellow, and then I go into white. I know when you look at a flame, the core is white, and then it goes into yellow, and then it goes into orange, and the edges are red, and then the very tips are black. I am not a big fan of that on miniatures. Obviously, you can just reverse the scheme of the flame if it suits you better. But I just like the way I do it. I'm going to continue doing it that way forevermore. Okay, some Corvus Black was brought in to layer up the armor panels. All those flat panels got hit with a nice layered coat of that, just to tidy up the armor. It's literally not really that relevant. When you look at a Legion Dam model, the black armor is not the thing that steals your attention. Skeleton Bone, Skull, whatever, I can't remember what the other one's called now. The two Army Painter paints I used for highlighting up, like I said, the bone sections. We have a mid-tone and a highlight. I have a very fine brush, an extra small Artificer layer brush. And I am very carefully going on and layering up those different sections. I really enjoy this. I think it looks really cool. And like I said, I spend a little bit more time on it because this is one of the focal points. If someone picks up this miniature off the table, they're definitely going to look at his Ghost Rider head. So the more effort you put into that, the more it'll pay off down the road. This is me going in with the final highlight of the bone areas. As you can see, I'm going in with the very kind of tip corners. And just the very, very edges of each feather is going to get hit by a tiny, tiny amount. And then obviously up the skulls and stuff. Lead Belcher was used in two ways. First off, I grabbed a sponge on tweezers. I very lightly dabbed some Lead Belcher. There was most of the Lead Belcher was removed from the sponge. I'm just adding a little bit of chipping, a little bit of weathering to the armor. Like I said, the armor is looking fairly flat and bland. Whereas you add this little bit of sponging technique, it just sets it off. It makes it look really cool. And then we use Lead Belcher with the brush then to tidy up all the other metallics. So this is what I was talking about before. Obviously, the thing is base coated with red and black washed. Now we're going in with some orange, and we're going to dry brush all of the fire bits across the entire piece. I had a smaller brush that I swapped to get the left-hand side of his face. But yeah, so just take your time and just do it. Just enjoy it. It's a simple process. But it really does pop, especially against all of the other kind of dark features across the model. This was an incredibly fast thing to paint, as in you could do an army of Legion of Damned in like a week, and you could do 2,000 points of it and it would not be difficult at all. It was a very enjoyable process as well. I loved how these miniatures look. And like I said, while I was doing it, at the beginning I was like, I'm just going to do this one model for this video. By the end of it, I'm like, maybe I'll do a kill team. These guys look kind of cool. Anyway, this is the finished result of my Legion of the Damned from Greytide Studio. Once again, thank you to Greytide Studio for supporting the channel and sponsoring today's video. I will, of course, link you to Greytide Studios and my manufacturer page down below. You can check out all the different kind of groups and bundles that they have. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one.